Have you ever considered being a website tester? Doing reviews to help those who operate websites to be able to make sure that they're compliant with ADA and WCAG 2.0? If you haven't, then maybe you should. If you're in the blind, vision impaired, blind, deaf, or disabled community, there are actually rules, regulations, and federal laws that require all websites to be accessible. Not just for those who are vision impaired, but for those with any kind of disability. Any kind. Whether they're vision impaired, blind, deaf, dyslexic, mobility issues due to not being able to use a mouse per se like everybody else because of dexterity issues. There's just a ton of different accessibility requirements. Now, many companies do actually require somebody to be certified in order to work for them to do accessibility testing. But we're not talking about them, not unless you really want to go and work for somebody else doing this. In that case, you would most likely need some kind of certificate or credentials to back up the fact that you know how to properly, in their opinion, test a website. The NFB, the National Federation for the Blind, also has a program for those who are vision impaired to be website testers because everybody's situation is different. And this is something that you can do yourself. You don't have to be a part of the NFB to be one of their testers. You don't have to be a remote worker for a company to be one of their certified testers. You can do this on your own. If you have the skill to use NVDA, JAWS, Windows Narrator, or any other accessibility tools to be able to work on websites. If you're proficient in that, then you can actually go and do website testing. It would help if you know what the ADA and the WCAG 2.0 regulations are. That's a big thing, is you got to know exactly what the rules are for them to be able to go through and go, okay, well, I'm vision impaired, but your website isn't compliant here, and here because of this. You're in violation of this rule of the ADA, or you're in violation of this rule within the WCAG. And if you're going, what is the WCAG? It is Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And under the law, every website is to at least maintain a AA standard. They would prefer you to be a AAA, but that's near impossible because that means everything is 100% A-OK, perfect across their entire website. And it's not only perfect in the sense of being for the blind to be able to have that alt text or all the buttons working. Oh no, my friend, I'm talking 100% perfect for every disability. And I don't believe there are anywhere in the world that has a AAA website. None of them. Not even the companies that want to do testing have a AAA rating. However, they are required by law to have a accessible website. If they don't, they can be sued. And when I mean they can be sued by me, they can be sued by you, they can be sued by anybody with a disability or without a disability. And they can be charged a $75,000 fine for not having an accessible website. And this is where people like us who have proficiencies in these different things can go through and go, okay, well, you've got buttons that aren't labeled as buttons. It just says it's content or a text or something like that. It doesn't tell you it's a clickable button. Or you could say you have photos all over your website. Not one of them has alt text for the screen reader to be able to give the description of that photo or to even know that it is a photo. Or you've got alt text but you don't have a caption, or you've got broken links that lead to nowhere, or you've got errors on this section, and this section. So this is a good way for you, if you're somebody who's proficient with accessibility features, to go through and offer your services to be able to go through and review a website. Now, for an example, real quick, let's take a look at my website. So now here's my website. As you can see, you've got my logo up in the top left-hand corner. And my cursor goes from an arrow when I'm not on my logo to a finger when I am on the logo. And that is because that logo is clickable. And it brings you right back here to this main home page for the website. In the center, you've got a hamburger button for a drop-down menu. Right here. Then you've got a clickable button for the newsletter sign up in the top right. Then you have the intro to the website and my photo. And if I was using a screen reader and I put my cursor over my photo, it would tell you something along the lines of Andrew with a white shirt standing in front of a red gradient background. Then you have the text that it would read. Then underneath that, you would have these 4 buttons underneath. Not that you can really see them because I have a forced dark mode on, but these are all individually colored buttons. And then you hover over one of them or tab over to one of them, depending on what way you like to use your browser. You have 4 individual buttons across the page, each of them individually colored to differentiate them. And then you could be like, okay, well, this button here doesn't say that it's a button, or this button doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Like, well, click on it. You're seeing it auto scroll down so you can see this whole section of text. Or you can click on one of the other ones up here, like the testimonials button, and it'll scroll you all the way down to the testimonials. And then each individual picture will have a alt text to tell you what the picture is. Then it will read the text that's associated with it in each section. Or maybe you click on the tab button and it brings you to the post or the photo, But when you hit the tab again, maybe it jumps down to the next photo rather than over to the text in that area. That could be an error that you let that person that runs the website know. Or like down here on my form for getting a work from home list, you could say, okay, well, the form doesn't tell you what section you're supposed to be putting your name or your email address in, or the button doesn't tell you it's a button for submitting to get stuff, or the image for the channel doesn't say anything on it because it don't have a description in alt text, or my social media links are all clickable, but they don't tell you what exactly it's going to. Same thing with like the newsletter sign up. You could say, okay, well, you can hear everything for the text being read, but it doesn't tell you where your name's supposed to go, where your email address is supposed to go, or the button's not working, or anything like that. And in which case, you're helping them be able to ensure that they're in compliance with the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, as well as the WCAG, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And you could charge $50, $100, $200. It all depends on the amount of time you're going to be spending on it, what your experience level is, what exactly you're going to be testing for, and a number of different things. Now, how do we, as vision impaired or disabled people, market this to be able to have this as an income stream? You can advertise on your own website if you have one. You can advertise on a blog if you have one. You can have it set up on a Facebook page. You can have it on your Instagram or your Twitter, or you can have a YouTube channel and you can go through and talk about your experience with the different websites and show them in free content. This is your experience with this website, or this is what's wrong with this website, so people understand what the ADA and the WCAG are in general. And by having that content, they'll know, hey, you seem to be an expert or you're experienced within this field. I'm going to reach out to this person and go, hey, can I hire you to do a review of my website, make sure things are working? If you're interested, how much is it going to cost? Yada, yada, yada. And this is an opportunity for everyone, not just those that are blind, low vision, or blind deaf. This is literally something that anybody can do, because every website is supposed to be following those regulations. Everybody. Not just in the United States, but everybody. Because websites are considered a public domain. Anything in the public domain needs to follow those regulations, including those who are international. They also have their own guidelines that they're supposed to be following as well, to ensure whether you're in the US or whether you're in Europe or whether you're in Australia, wherever. Every country has their own disability guidelines, as well as everybody has a set of accessibility guidelines for online. Unfortunately, they don't mandate that everybody follow the exact same rules. For instance, somebody here in the US, we have to follow the ADA and the WCAG, whereas somebody in Europe may have to follow a separate thing. And I do believe one of them is called a 508 compliance, or something to that effect. I'll tell you right now, I am not an accessibility expert by far, but I do have experience of going through and checking out different websites and having my own issues, which, if you've been around my channel for a while, you know I will complain about website accessibility, especially when it comes to our community of the vision impaired. Myself specifically, that's why when you look at my website here, it's in the forced dark mode. And that's only because I just didn't switch over. However, when you are on my website and I don't have my forced dark mode on, it's already dark. I purposely did that so that it was easier for me to be able to build my website, but hopefully easier for you to be able to see my website without having to go through and do all kinds of extra unnecessary stuff to make it easier for you. That's why my pages are dark. That's why my text is light. That's why I tried to make all my buttons a distinct, brighter color, so it's easier for that gradient between the black background and the text, or the button outline. I wanted to make it as easy as possible for our community and others to be able to use right off the bat, without having to go in and find a little accessibility tool and go, okay, enlarge it this much more, make the text this way, do this, do that. Because some of them tools can only do so much. And that's unfortunate, because that is one thing I'm still working on myself. I know my site is fairly accessible, but it may not be 100% accessible like the standards want. And I'm still working on it, but I'm not an expert. I'm doing everything as I go, as I learn on my own. And that's where, if you've been around for a while with this community, you know I will go into my Facebook group or onto my Facebook page, or even here in these videos, and ask you to, hey, check out my website. Let me know what you think. If you find anything that's not working properly, let me know. That way I can go in, figure out what the issue is, and correct it, because I want this website to be a resource for the blind and vision impaired community. Not only for our community, but for instructors that are TVI, CVI, or O&M. Because that way, I'm not only helping our community for those who are low vision and blind or blind deaf, but I'm also giving a resource to our instructors who are out there daily trying to help our community. This gives them an extra tool in their belt to go, hey, if you're looking for this or you need help with this, you can go to consultablindguide.com and you can look at the resources for the blind and vision impaired. So I hope that you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, by all means, please feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Till the next time, I hope you have a great day or evening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out one of these videos over here on the right, as one of them may interest you as well, and we'll see you later. Thanks again for watching.